Welcome back to Kamen Rider Review Episode 84. You're probably thinking, wait, didn't you do Case Closed next? Yes, but I had gotten the movie done because I was waiting from the house. I was watching. I was going to give myself some dinner. So I figured though, it's something I needed to do. So here we go. This was discussing the Super One movie. Yes, and by the way, the next movie does not get released for another 3 years for Kamen Rider. This is the first one since the 8 Riders versus the previous movie that came from the previous series. And this movie does feature Return of the Kamen Riders, the previous 8. I'll get to what their role in the movie is, and I'll get to it. So, the movie starts out with General Mongol and 5 brand new monsters who are in human form. And by the way, one of them, Satan Hawk. Yeah, Satan Hawk, Strong Bear, Headbird, Zodra, and Crazy Sarah. Satan Hawk, I believe I have seen her in different series. The actress who plays her. Yep. Yeah, she was Salome from Bad Paper J. Yeah, she was actually. I was actually quite surprised. This movie came out. By the way, this movie came out in 1981. So this one came out roughly, I'd say, about a year after the conclusion of Bad Fever J. Well, the other ones I wasn't all familiar with them. So basically, these 5 people, where they basically stormed this village in the mountains, known as the Mongoli Makati village of Yakabito, and they're here to steal something. What are they here to steal? They refer to it as a ancient Chinese tank. It's basically a flying. It's a mechanical dragon that they find in the mountains. So they pretty much destroy an entire village, and the kids escape with 5 stones. A little bit later. So they fight the chief, and of course they take the 5 swords they used in order to, let's say, get the thing, and they get it and destroy the village and do some damage. And you're like, oh, you dare defy us? Super One tries to fight it, but he's going to do it. You're probably asking, where are the other Kamen Riders? They'll show up eventually in a very obvious scene. Because, of course, it follows the Kamen Riders. So, a lot of the time, Kamen Rider Super 1 is basically fighting this machine by himself. And it turns out the kids who, when the Flying Fortress showed up, apparently it had been a week. Which is kind of weird. Yeah, this I thought was quite strange. Like, according to, I think it was Ryu, I think his name was. He said the one kid named Sentima, he says he had just transferred to her school a week ago, and the way it's kind of wonky how the timeline works in this movie. So, after some damage, and of course they try to find, of course, this Dogma, and then of course then we have Master Genki and Baki show up to basically help out. This is overall I almost forgot they actually appeared in this movie. They do appear one more time after this in episode 23, and that's it for them. Because they get dropped. I'll get to that, don't worry. So, pretty much basically like they fight out the monsters, and then you have them destroy one of the first monster in the movie. He actually battles one of them like in the valley, like, oh, is this where the Kamen Riders show up? No, they don't. I think the first thing beats is not Bear. It's a Hibitor. A snake monster. Yep. So they beat the snake monster first. By the way, did you know one of these is actually not destroyed by the Kamen Rider? Yeah, one of these monsters is not destroyed by them. Which is strange. Yeah, we have Master Genki. He destroys one of the monsters, which, wow, that's something. One of the monsters in the movie not destroyed by a Kamen Rider? Well, probably because the guy's very good martial arts. And of course, we also have to protect the kids. The kids also can protect themselves pretty well because they're good at martial arts. Now, the kids, now when they first meet Oki, they're initially suspicious at first, but he explains from the Shaolin Temple. Like, okay, because of the fact they're apparently, according to Genki, that's where their way came from, that village, their way of martial arts. And it's also explained by him that the Chinese treasure was brought there from China by a Chinese king who basically took over this one tribe. And they practically worship the thing as a deity. Yep. Oh, Terra Makarov, we kind of see him outside of a veil first time. Yes. I have heard this is set between, people suspect it's set between episodes 21 and 22, but the best place to place this movie is between 20 and 21. Yeah, so we kind of see him like in his chair fully, because most of it we just see his face. We see like a close up of his face, but it's all we see. Here we see a little bit better image of him. We'll probably see a little more of the next episode. We'll talk about episode 21. So, yeah, one by one the monster's defeated. Though eventually he gets to a point where he's like, gotta get the flying fortress, while of course Genki handling the one monster. And then he's surrounded by the Dogma Revenge Corps. That's what the sub refers to them as. But their actual name is the Revenge Corps. And here's the thing. All the monsters but 3 are actually from, believe it or not, Super 1. They're all monsters he defeated. Except for the last 3. You have Fire Kong, Cameron, Chameleon King, Spirit Babin, Asaker, Spirit Cobra, Gasamta, and Genkini. They're all Super 1 monsters. But Kegaron, Golden Jaguar, and Zabita, those were all Sky Raider monsters. Now, how can the Wookiee forget about Fire Kong? It was the first monster he faced in this series, Fire Kong. But here's the thing. Fire Kong, the revived version, was destroyed by Super 1. Now, the way they show up, it's like, wait, and then there's Kamen number 1, number 2, there's X, Rider Man, Sky Rider, Stronger, Sky Rider, and finally V3, which I looked up online, that is the actual V3 actor. He's the only one who came back for this movie. And here's the strange thing though. Sky Rider had not been seen in like a year prior to this. I mean, he was not seen since the end of his old series. Like, why in the world they took so long to bring him back, I don't know. Oh yeah, and also Sky Rider is in his charged up form. Was part of him. He still is in this form. And you might be thinking this movie, when's the next time we see the Kamen Riders? Well, they actually appear in another movie released 3 years later. Basically, I'll be watching that after I finish up Super 1. Yeah, and then they don't really show much after that. And as for why in the world did the actor who plays Super 1 couldn't come back to this movie, I don't know. It's weird. But apparently the last time he played him, apparently like Sky Raider and Stronger, their actors couldn't be bothered to come back for this thing. Which is strange. The actor is still very much alive, the one who plays Sky Raider. But yeah, he was never asked to come back. Near Stronger, which is weird. Though in the case of Raid number 2, it was last time out of suit he was seen because he did reprise his role years later. So yeah, so V3 is the only you see of all the voices you hear in the movie. V3 is the only who actually is a legit actor. Everyone else is just a stand-in. Why? Don't know why. It is quite odd to say the least. Yeah. It's like they either didn't bother or they just basically just didn't care to bring back the actor. Hmm. Yeah, it's just quite odd. Like, you bring him back here and you don't do anything with him. Yeah. So they fight the monsters, and then you don't see him again until the end of the movie after and basically have Super One fighting the flying fortress, or eventually the thing is destroyed. Yeah, he destroys it, and the other monsters destroy it. Teacher Mongo basically escapes, and well, then we have where everyone's reunited, and then you have it's the 8 Kamen Riders, the first 8. Now here's the strange thing though. In the case of Sky Rider, Tani was his friend. And yet here he just doesn't interact with him in this last scene. I'm like, why? As far as I can tell, no reason for this. Yeah. It's kind of weird though that they couldn't have these guys like, powered down. So apparently, the one replacement for this movie was a guy by the name of Michiro Izumiya, and he basically was just a stand-in for the first Kamen Rider. Yeah, he was just a stand-in. As for why, according to what I read, apparently the reason why the actor wasn't here because he was unavailable. That was simply the reason for it. Yeah. And I do think the movie's good. I think the 45 minutes runtime was really good. The only weakness I had in the movie is that we don't have an explanation of how the Kamen Riders survive their apparent deaths when they're trying to get rid of the great leader of Neo Shocker. Yeah, that's never explained here. And also why that they just waved to Tani, a guy who they saw at the end of the previous series, and they got on really well. Here it's like, nope, can't interact and just stand on a cliffside and just. Oh, by the way, here's the strange thing though about X. He doesn't do his X kick. Nope, he doesn't. I don't know why. So apparently he was voiced, in the case of X, he was voiced by Kadogi Sonobe. Kazuyoki Sabra, that's who voices him in this movie, which is interesting. Oh, by the way, the actor is no longer alive. Okay, then, alright, who voiced right number 2? Because, well, clearly the actor wasn't available. Let's see. They apparently don't have a list on here who plays him in Super 1. Yeah, there's no credit here for that one. Okay, Amazon, him as far as I can tell, They never bother to bring him back for some strange reason. Yeah, he shows up and stronger, but the actor never returns ever again. Nope. Yeah, so there's no credit who voiced Amazon here. Stronger, well, sadly, of course, his actor is no longer alive. There's no credit exactly who voices him in Super One either. Yeah, but good movie, and I can't wait to discuss the rest of the series. Now, I'm probably going to be going back to watching the 3 mini episodes for this arc. Probably just after I do, um, My Hero, because next I'm definitely going to do Case Ghost. Okay, next video. Bye.